Let me tell you something, and I want you to hold this deep in your spirit. Nothing in your life is going to change just because you want it to. Change doesn't come by desire. It comes by decision. It comes by discipline. It comes by design. You don't grow by accident. You grow on purpose. Growth is not something that just happens over time. Growth happens when you decide that where you are is not where you're going to stay. Now listen carefully. Because I've watched people spend years of their lives spinning in the same cycle, going through the motions, sitting in the same place, talking about what they're gonna do, dreaming about what they're gonna become, but never moving on it. They think time alone will transform them, but baby, time only passes. It's not the years that change you. It's what you do in the years. There are people who have been alive for 40 years but haven't lived a focus day. Why? Because they've never been intentional. Intentionality means waking up with direction. It means understanding that every moment matters. It's not just floating through life, waiting for blessings to fall into your lap. It's positioning yourself. You want God to elevate you. Start preparing like elevation is coming. Show me someone who's intentional, and I'll show you someone who's not waiting on the opportunity. They're becoming the opportunity. You've got to understand, excellence is not inherited. It's cultivated. Growth is not something you stumble upon. It's something you build. It takes commitment. It takes clarity. You can't aim at nothing and expect to hit something. So many people want to be better, but they don't want to plan to be better. They want healing without habits. They want breakthrough without structure. But if you're going to grow, you're going to have to confront the areas in your life that have been ignored. You've got to take inventory. What am I feeding my mind? What am I allowing into my heart? What am I doing with my time? You see, improvement doesn't come because you went to one seminar, heard one sermon, read one book. No, improvement is the result of consistency. You've got to sow into yourself daily, not occasionally, not just when you feel inspired, not just on Sundays. Every single day you ought to wake up and ask yourself, what am I doing today that contributes to the person I'm becoming? Let me break it down for you in real terms. You want to be wise? Start reading intentionally. You want to be strong? Start training your body with discipline. You want to be spiritually mature? Start praying when it's inconvenient, praising when it's uncomfortable, and trusting God when it doesn't make sense. Nothing about growth is easy, but everything about it is worth it. We live in a culture that glorifies comfort and quick fixes. Everybody wants a shortcut. Everybody wants it now, but the real truth is nothing lasting is built overnight. You don't grow muscle in a day, you don't master a craft in a week, and you don't transform your life in a month. But if you start doing small things consistently with great intentionality over time, you'll start to see big change. The Bible says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That means transformation is a byproduct of renewal. And renewal isn't passive. You've got to take your mind back from the lies. You've got to take your attention back from the distractions. You've got to pull yourself away from anything that subtracts from your future. Because here's the truth, not everything that feels good is good for your growth. Intentional growth means being willing to leave behind the crowd so you can find your calling. It means doing what's necessary, even when it's not popular. It means saying no to things that other people say yes to. It means sometimes being lonely. It means sometimes being misunderstood. But hear me, growth is never found in comfort. It is found in clarity. Clarity of vision, clarity of values, clarity of purpose. Some of you are waiting for a sign, waiting for a miracle, waiting for someone to rescue you. But what if God is waiting on you to take the first step? What if your next level is on the other side of intentional obedience? What if the key to your future isn't in someone else's hands, but in the daily decisions you make? Are you willing to live a life that doesn't just look good, but grows good fruit? It's time to stop drifting and start driving. Set goals, create systems, Guard your schedule. Monitor your habits. Don't just hope for more. Prepare for more. Because when you start moving intentionally, heaven starts backing you supernaturally. And when God sees someone who's serious about growth, he'll open doors that no man can shut. So I challenge you today, don't let another season pass without purpose. Don't let another week go by on autopilot. Step into this moment with fire. Speak life into your future. Get focused, get structured, and get intentional, because your best self is not found in what you say, it's found in what you do, and the difference between where you are and where you're going is the intentional steps you take right now. You can pray all day, you can hope, cry, shout, and declare, but if you don't have discipline, your destiny will remain a dream. We live in a world where people want elevation without effort. They want results without routines. But let me tell you, nothing powerful is built on convenience. If you're going to improve, if you're going to grow, if you're going to rise to the place God has for you, you're going to need discipline. Real discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you were created to be. It's the daily decision to do what's necessary even when it's not natural. It's waking up early when your body wants to sleep. It's walking past distractions when your flesh wants to indulge. It's choosing structure over chaos, progress over pleasure, and purpose over comfort. Let me say this to you plainly. Your gift will get you in the room, but only your discipline will keep you there. Some of the most talented people you know are stuck. Not because they aren't smart, not because they don't have potential, but because they don't have discipline. Talent without structure is like a car with no steering wheel. It might look good on the outside, but it has no direction. And hear me, it's not about perfection. Discipline isn't about being flawless. It's about being faithful. It's about making a commitment to show up for yourself, even when nobody claps, even when nobody's watching, even when you don't feel like it. Can you be committed in the dark? Can you be consistent without applause? That's what separates the improved from the idle. That's what separates the person who talks about change from the person who embodies it. Your habits reveal your priorities. Look at your calendar. Look at your morning routine. Look at how you spend your evenings. That's where your discipline, or lack of it, is hiding. Discipline is built in the details. It's built in your choices, your patterns, your lifestyle. You can't just speak change. You have to live change. Every single day. It's easy to shout about destiny, but can you sit down and develop it? Can you put your phone down and pick your book up? Can you turn off Netflix and turn on focus? Can you go to the gym when it's raining? Can you pray when you're tired? Can you stay in alignment when nobody's looking? Let me tell you, one of the greatest deceptions of this generation is that motivation is enough. But motivation wears off. It fades, it burns out. Discipline stays. Discipline is there when the excitement is gone. Discipline shows up when the inspiration has left. Because discipline doesn't depend on your mood. It depends on your mindset. And when your mind is made up, your feet will follow. There will be days when it's hard, days when your flesh fights your spirit, days when your feelings scream louder than your faith. But those are the days that build you. Those are the days where discipline must rise. Because every time you make a decision to push through resistance, you're not just winning the day. You're building a version of yourself that can carry the weight of greatness. You have to understand, discipline trains your soul to obey your purpose. And if you don't train it, your life will always be controlled by cravings, by impulses, by distractions. You'll never finish anything because you'll always be starting over. You'll be full of vision but empty of results. Why? Because discipline is what brings completion. It's what takes dreams out of your head and puts them into your hands. Don't envy successful people. Study them. Watch how they live. Listen to their schedules. Examine their commitment to discipline. It's not about how they feel. It's about what they've decided. And hear this. Some of the things that look like sacrifice on the outside are really investments on the inside. Waking up at 5 a.m. is not punishment, it's preparation. Saying no to the party is not missing out, it's making room. Because when you're disciplined, your no today creates the space for a greater yes tomorrow. Discipline is not a prison, it's protection. It protects you from wasting time. It protects you from self-sabotage. It protects you from being tossed by every emotion and trapped by every temptation. Discipline is what keeps you rooted when life gets rocky. It's what keeps you focused when the enemy throws distractions. It's what keeps you standing when everything else wants you to fall. And let me remind you, God is not going to do for you what He gave you the power to do. He gave you a mind, a will, a body, and a calling. But you've got to bring your life under submission. Discipline is you saying, I will not let this season pass without progress. It's you declaring, I'm not going to let my future self down because my current self wanted comfort. It's you standing up in the morning and saying, today I do the hard thing. Today I choose growth. So make the decision now, build the routines now, create the systems now, say no to what drains you. Say yes to what develops you, and keep showing up, day after day, week after week, month after month. Because while the world is watching for flashes of greatness, God is looking for people who will master the mundane. And if you can stay disciplined when it's boring, when it's painful, when it's lonely, if you can keep pressing even when nothing is happening, you're on your way to becoming someone unstoppable. Not because you felt like it, but because you decided you were worth it. You've got to understand something deep in your spirit, where you are, who you're with, and what you expose yourself to is either feeding your future or fighting it. Your environment is not neutral. It is either pushing you forward or pulling you backward. It is either lifting you up or dragging you down. There is no in-between. Some people are praying for growth, praying for peace, praying for clarity, but they are still sleeping in environments that choke their calling. You can't soar with eagles when you keep nesting with crows. Your atmosphere matters. If you plant a seed in rich soil, it grows. If you put it in dry, toxic soil, it struggles. You are no different. You are a seed full of potential, but your soil, your environment, determines how high you rise and how deep your roots go. You cannot underestimate the power of where you dwell and who you dwell with. You cannot keep sitting at tables where God didn't assign you a seat and expect to be fed the meal meant for your destiny. Let me teach you something. Your potential can be suffocated by proximity. That means just because they're close to you doesn't mean they're called to you. Some of you are surrounded by people who smile at you but secretly resent your hunger. You're trying to elevate and they're trying to pacify. You're trying to evolve and they're trying to remind you who you used to be. If you're not careful, you'll allow the comfort of old company to keep you in a place God has called you out of. You've got to become a steward of your space. Guard your environment like your future depends on it, because it does. The people you talk to, the voices you listen to, the energy you allow into your space, all of it is shaping your elevation. Growth doesn't just come from within. It is reinforced, strengthened, and stretched by what surrounds you. That's why God sometimes isolates you, not to punish you, but to protect your future. Sometimes the separation is preparation. Some of you are stuck not because you lack intelligence or ability, but because your environment is full of noise and negativity. Every time you take one step forward, the atmosphere pulls you 2 steps back. Every time you get a spark of vision, someone near you dumps cold water on your dream. Listen, even Jesus couldn't do many miracles in his hometown because of the environment of unbelief. If it affected him, what makes you think it won't affect you? You can't build a palace mindset in a prison culture. You can't develop a kingdom vision in a chaotic environment. That's why you've got to be intentional. Create environments that match where you're going, not where you've been. That means sometimes you have to log off, back out, and walk away. You've got to clean your feed, clear your circle, and cut the clutter. What you expose yourself to daily is silently disciplining you. Every voice you let in is planting something, whether it's fear, doubt, faith, or drive. And here this elevation demands environment shifts. You can't keep doing new things in old places with stale people. When God gets ready to elevate you, he often changes your scenery. Abram had to leave his father's house. Ruth had to leave Moab. Joseph had to leave the pit. Why? Because the next level required a different atmosphere. Sometimes the greatest obedience is walking away from what's familiar in order to step into what's fruitful. Your environment also includes your habits, your schedule, your workspace, even the music you listen to. You've got to ask yourself, does this space inspire growth or encourage comfort? Does it push me toward purpose or keep me locked in patterns? The discipline of crafting an intentional environment is one of the most underrated but powerful acts of self-improvement. Because when your environment aligns with your vision, your effort becomes more effective. Watch what happens when you clean up your space, when you stop tolerating confusion. When you surround yourself with people who believe in discipline, who talk about ideas instead of gossip, who pray more than they panic, who build instead of break, you'll start to feel lighter. You'll start to hear from God more clearly. You'll begin to walk differently, talk differently, and think on a higher level. Not because you changed everything inside, but because you stopped living in a space that was poisoning your perspective. Now, don't misunderstand me. You're going to have to fight for that space. You're going to have to say no. You're going to have to be misunderstood. You might even feel lonely. But elevation is often a lonely road, because not everyone has the lungs to breathe at the level you're going to. Some people will try to pull you back because your growth exposes their comfort, but you cannot let loyalty to the past destroy your assignment for the future. You don't owe anyone access to your energy if they mishandle your vision. You don't have to feel guilty for protecting your peace. You don't have to explain your elevation to people who are content in stagnation. You've got to be bold enough to set boundaries, wise enough to shift your surroundings, and focused enough to keep your atmosphere fertile for the future. Because at the end of the day, you can't reach the mountain while staying in the valley. You've got to climb, you've got to rise, and the higher you go, the more your environment must support your calling, not suffocate it. Your elevation is connected to your environment, and your future deserves an atmosphere that's just as powerful as the potential inside you. Let me talk to the person who keeps starting and stopping, to the one who gets excited, makes a big move, then burns out and falls off. Let me tell you something that might hurt your feelings but will save your future. It's not how hard you go that changes your life. It's how long you last. Anybody can start with a spark, but real transformation comes from staying lit when the fire of emotion dies down. We love intensity. We love the drama of going all in. We love the emotional high of starting something new. New gym membership, new relationship, new routine. We tell the world, this is my season. We push hard for a few days, maybe a few weeks, but then something happens. We miss one day. We get discouraged. We let the weight of the moment crush the vision of the long haul. And before we know it, we're back where we started, this time with more guilt than growth. But growth doesn't answer to emotion. Growth responds to consistency. God honors the daily. God blesses what you can do again and again and again. Not just what you can start loud. Not just what you can post about. But what you can stick to in silence. See, intensity is exciting. It's loud. It looks powerful. It draws attention. But consistency is quiet. It's boring. It's repetitive. It doesn't get as many likes. But make no mistake, consistency compounds. While intensity makes promises, consistency builds character. While intensity burns bright, consistency burns long. We live in a generation addicted to fast results. We want 30-day abs, 10x followers, overnight success, but anything that comes quick is usually shallow. If you want something that lasts, it has to be built slowly, daily, and intentionally. You can't microwave mastery. You can't sprint your way into purpose, you walk there, one disciplined step at a time. Let me show you what this looks like. The person who shows up to the gym 3 times a week for a year will always outperform the one who goes hard for 10 days and quits. The person who prays 10 minutes every morning for a year will hear more from God than the one who fasts for a week but disappears spiritually for months. Why? Because consistency builds rhythm, and rhythm creates momentum. Consistency doesn't mean you don't fall. It means you don't stay down. It means you keep showing up even when you feel tired, even when you feel overlooked, even when the results are slow. It means you've made a decision. Not based on your mood, but based on your mission. You want to improve your life, find one thing and do it daily, read for 15 minutes every day, move your body every day, encourage someone every day, pray every day, stretch your mind every day, and don't worry if it doesn't feel deep or powerful or impressive. The power is in the pattern. Every brick you lay is part of a foundation. Every repetition is part of your refinement. God moves through rhythm. Think about nature. The sun rises every day. The tides come in and go out. The seasons change in order. There's a divine consistency in how creation moves. Why? Because consistency is the language of sustainability. And if you want to build something that lasts, your business, your health, your marriage, your faith, you must learn how to move in rhythm. Consistency is also the key to trust. You don't trust people who are intense. You trust people who are reliable, people who keep showing up. The same thing applies to your purpose. If you want God to trust you with more, show him you can be faithful with little. Be faithful when it's slow. Be faithful when it's hard. Be faithful when nobody is watching. The truth is, consistency is more powerful than talent. Some of the most gifted people stay stuck because they never develop consistency. But some of the most impactful people weren't the most talented. They were the most faithful. They kept writing, kept working, kept believing, kept sowing, kept showing up, and hear me, it's not about perfection. You will miss days, you will fall off sometimes. That doesn't mean you failed. That means you're human. Get back up. Keep going. Don't let the enemy convince you that one bad moment undoes all your progress. Consistency isn't about never missing. It's about never quitting. So stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop needing to feel motivated. Stop chasing the emotional high. And start building patterns that serve your future. Small disciplines, daily deposits, quiet progress, because in the end, it's not what you do once that changes your life, it's what you do daily that shapes your destiny. Let me leave you with this. Intensity may inspire the crowd, but consistency builds the crown. The reward doesn't go to those who burn the brightest. It goes to those who endure the longest. So whatever you're building, don't just go hard. Go long, be steady, be faithful, be consistent, and watch what God does with a life that refuses to quit. We live in a culture that's obsessed with now. Fast food, fast fame, instant downloads, next day shipping. We've been trained to believe that if it doesn't happen quickly, it isn't worth waiting for. But the truth is, anything of real value takes time. You can't plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. Growth requires process, and the process demands patience. If you're going to improve your life, one of the most powerful lessons you must learn is the ability to delay gratification. Let me tell you something, gratification is not the enemy, but timing is everything. What you want isn't wrong, but when you want it, and how long you're willing to wait for it, will determine whether that desire leads you to destiny or into destruction. A reward received too early becomes a burden. A blessing handled too soon becomes a trap. That's why so many people get burned by things that were meant to bless them, because they didn't wait for the maturity that comes with the delay. Delayed gratification is the discipline of choosing what you want most over what you want now. It's saying no to your impulses so you can say yes to your improvement. It's denying yourself comfort today in order to live in freedom tomorrow. It's understanding that patience isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Some of the strongest people in the world are the ones who can wait well. Let me ask you this. What are you sacrificing your future for in the name of temporary pleasure? What are you trading your purpose for just to satisfy a momentary craving? Some of us are forfeiting long-term peace for short-term excitement. We are surrendering legacy for likes. We are walking away from calling because we can't handle being uncomfortable. But hear me, you cannot elevate without restraint. You cannot reach new levels if you are always chasing new pleasures. Everything worth building takes sacrifice. Whether it's financial freedom, strong relationships, good health, or a deep walk with God, you will have to say no to something now in order to say yes to something greater later. Think about a farmer. He doesn't reap in the same season he sows. He doesn't dig up the ground, throw in a seed, and demand fruit the next morning. No, he understands the process. He knows the waiting is part of the work. And while he waits, he keeps watering. He keeps protecting. He keeps believing because the farmer knows that delay is not denial. It's development. Some of you are in a season of delay, and the enemy wants to convince you that God forgot you, that he's punishing you, that you're stuck. But I came to tell you, delay is not the absence of movement, it's the alignment of your maturity with your mission. God is preparing you for what you prayed for. But he can't give you the thing if the thing will break you. Can you wait without whining? Can you keep building when nothing is blooming? Can you trust God's timing more than your own temptation? Because if you can delay gratification, you are not just resisting, you are investing. Every time you walk past a temporary thrill, you are putting a deposit into your future. Every time you say no to the shortcut, you're saying yes to the standard. You don't build a strong marriage by only doing what feels good. You build it by choosing what's right even when it's hard. You don't build a successful business by chasing trends. You build it by making smart decisions over and over again, even when nobody sees it. You don't build spiritual strength by showing up to church once. You build it by praying, reading, serving, and sacrificing again and again, even when it doesn't feel exciting. We have to learn how to value the process. We have to stop measuring success by speed and start measuring it by substance. The question is not how fast can I get there. The question is, am I becoming the kind of person who can sustain it when I do? Because you don't want the platform if your character can't carry it. You don't want the promise if your maturity can't manage it. And this is why delayed gratification is not punishment, it's protection. It protects your future from being destroyed by your flesh. It gives your soul room to grow before the spotlight hits you. It lets your roots go deep before your branches spread wide. Because what good is it to rise quickly and collapse completely? What good is it to gain the world and lose your peace? Don't let the enemy rush you. Don't let the world distract you. Don't let your emotions deceive you. Just because it looks slow doesn't mean it's not sacred. Just because it's delayed doesn't mean it's denied. Sometimes the best things in life are the ones you had to wait for, pray for, work for, cry for. Because when it finally comes, you don't just receive it. You're ready for it. So train yourself to wait. Discipline your appetite. Learn to say, not now, because later is greater. Because the ones who win long-term are not always the fastest, the loudest, or the strongest. They're the ones who knew how to wait well. The ones who had the wisdom to delay pleasure so they could grow in purpose. And when the harvest finally comes, they don't crumble under it. They thrive in it. Now hear me, and hear me well. Your life is not going to change by accident. You don't stumble into greatness. You don't drift into destiny. You walk into it intentionally, faithfully, and courageously. If you want to improve your life, it's not about waiting on a miracle. It's about becoming the miracle. It's about shifting how you think, changing how you move and aligning yourself with principles that push you toward purpose. You've heard the truth to date, truth that demands action, not emotion, not hype. Action, the kind of action that starts in your mind, moves through your decisions, and transforms your outcomes. It's the discipline to wake up early and speak life over yourself. It's the boldness to change your environment, the humility to be consistent, the wisdom to delay gratification, and the maturity to keep learning even when you think you already know. You are not here to stay stuck. You are not here to survive life. You are here to build it, to own it, to elevate it, brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. But it won't happen with wishful thinking. It will happen with willful living. It will happen when you stop chasing easy and start choosing excellent. When you stop reacting to life and start leading it. So I challenge you today, not just to feel this message, but to live it. To walk out of this moment with new standards, new rhythms, and new clarity. Don't just hear the truth. Become it. Be the person who doesn't just hope for change, but embodies it. Your next level is waiting, but it won't come to who you were. It will meet who you're willing to become. So step into the fire of discipline, the grind of growth, the silence of sacrifice. Because on the other side of that commitment is the kind of improvement that doesn't just change your situation. It changes you. You were made for more. Now it's time to move like it.